Reach out, oh, with Ray and Steve. Reach out, with Ray and Steve. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the car. Root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. Play ball.
Oh, I love it. Thank you, guys. As the great Vin Scully would say, hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good evening to each one of you, wherever you may be. Welcome to Reach Out with Ray and Steve. Now, let's, without further ado, let's move forward and let's bring on our host, Ray and Steve. Come on in, guys.
Robbie, it's all about the Dodgers, isn't it?
Roberto, listen to me. Listen to me. I've had enough of these Dodger things. It's been a week already. Okay, I hear from you 3 times a day. I know you won. Anyway, I'm sending you the automobile. It's on the way. You'll have it tomorrow.
So, Robbie, do you sleep in that thing?
I do. I'm going to wear it till next October because they're going to be world champions for the next year, right?
Oh, wow. I guess that's how it works. Well, we apologize. We got off to a late start. Ray and I have been voting, so we got
Voting nothing. We couldn't get Steve out of the bathroom for about half an hour.
Okay. All right. Throw me under the bus
Unbelievable.
right away. Gee, within 30 seconds, they would throw me under the bus. But Robbie, thank you so very much for doing what you do. And you're bringing Sarah Nimitz along with you tonight again, right?
Yes. And we've got a surprise for one of our guests tonight.
Okay. Well, listen.
Okay.
In the banter part, we talk about the community. As you can see, we have some of the H21 hand sanitizers that we're doing for all of our kids in the Bronx and everywhere else. And a guy sitting next to me is the incredible cinematographer, Mr. Barry Markowitz.
Yes.
Okay.
Barry.
Yeah, awesome.
And Barry Markowitz is a gentleman that has done some of the big films. He's worked with everybody, including Mr. Robert Duvall.
Oh, look, a picture.
You know, who doesn't do anything without this guy over here. Tell us a little bit about what you do, brother.
Well, I make sure that everybody has a good breakfast.
Okay. All right.
That's
important.
Got to start out with a full stomach, and I make sure that I guess I don't like saying I too much, but it's the whole crew. It takes a village, so to speak, and we all work together. And I'm in charge of making sure that the shots are properly composed and the director is happy with what we're doing and the lighting and the camera angles and all that stuff that you see behind the scenes.
Tell the audience how we met.
We met, you were spray painting a wall.
No. There we go.
We met on a film called Bottom of the Ninth,
All right.
which Raymond DiFelita
Directed.
and Joe Manganiello and
Sophia
Verega, and they were tight as a couple, so that helped. Everything was more natural. Baseball movie that
well, baseball was the backdrop. Let's put it
was
that
the backdrop, right?
You
Love story within a baseball
Right.
genre,
Right.
so to speak.
Right.
Chance,
And we
right?
try to shoot it in a more interesting way because there's a lot of baseball movies have been done, great ones. And we brought the director brought, and the actors brought, and the production assistants brought good coffee, and I did my job. Even my dog Rosie got into the act.
I've worked in probably 15 films in my life, and it wasn't until I got friendly with this gentleman here that I realized the importance of a great cinematographer. And because I saw how he, in essence, stayed on the back of the director and basically guided him through. I mean, you're really the guy. You're like the catcher in a baseball game.
Well, they say everybody's got an opinion, kind of thing. Whether it's valid or not. When I work with not Carl Reiner, I wish Rob Reiner, he always says to me, Barry, 2 Jews, 3 opinions. So everybody's got an opinion, but yeah, I try to not force my opinion, just throw it out as an idea. And
Wow.
If you got a better one, great.
Right.
Well, let me say this, that Barry is leaving this tomorrow morning for Miami, where the pandemic situation has been really bad, per se. And so he's going to deliver. My friend Alfred Zaccanino actually put together this company that does the H21 hand sanitizers that we're doing as far as helping the children all over the place. We want the kids, they put their hands in their mouth, this and that, et cetera. I mean, I'm a big kid and I still do that. So, we're doing a lot of this stuff and sending these things all over the place. And we want the kids, so please.
Well, everybody's got to be safe.
You got to
That's
be
right.
safe at this time because the thing is coming back. It's spiking back up. My son has it, has the coronavirus, just from being out there and trying to help people as a police officer. So please, you're going to deliver these to Florida and help these kids out and make sure, I'm saying? You're not doing a movie at this very moment, so you can do that for us. You've been out there anyway.
I'll put the
You've
money.
been working with a lot of kids.
That's true. I'll
Okay.
put some money into extra baggage fee, no problem.
Okay.
There you go. That's all. I'm not even going to say. I was going to say something, but I'm not going to say it.
Right.
Please, I'm
He-
begging you.
I'm
set you up. He
I'm
set you up.
outnumbered. I'm outnumbered here. I am very much outnumbered. so I'm gonna say-
Real quick, what advice would you give to the young people that want to get in the business?
Don't. No. Live out your dreams. Like they keep telling you, there's got to be some truth in it.
Mm-hmm.
There is, hard work, be polite, and most important, be humble.
Humble.
Be humble.
Yeah.
For the big movie fans out there, who's the biggest star that you have worked with?
I can't even answer that.
Come on,
I
just
swear.
give it. Just come on.
No, they're all
I
they're
know
all
you-
watching.
I
So
know.
Come
yeah,
on, you know you're doing to me.
Robert Duvall is watching.
Well,
Duvall is
Bobby's
watching,
a good boy,
and I know you're very.
all the rest of
You
them.
know. All right. Well, I'll let you get away
That's a
with
tough
that one.
one, Ray. That's a tough one.
Yeah, right on.
It's
Okay.
easier handing these out than
Right,
answering that question.
Right.
Well, you have
Well,
a safe trip to
Have a
Miami.
safe trip.
Nice meeting you, sir.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me, and whoever's out there, thank you.
Well, you see Daryl. I know you're a big Daryl fan.
Daryl, my God.
Yeah, put Daryl on a minute. Put Daryl on
Oh,
a
you give me
minute.
a treat now.
Give you a treat, Daryl.
Mighty
What's up?
Daryl.
Barry Markowitz.
If you need any
No.
photography, let me know.
All right. Thanks, brother. I
I
appreciate
can't
it.
hear a thing.
That's right.
What's
And,
he
and,
saying?
and your next movie. He wants to be in your next movie.
You don't even need to be casted.
All
The
right.
world, the world loves you, buddy, and you know it.
Well,
Okay.
thank you.
No makeup
Thank you.
required.
There we
Makeup
go. Well,
required.
thank
See ya.
you so much.
See
Thank
you
you.
later.
Stay healthy.
All right.
Barry Markowitz. Legend.
Legend.
Should I
Yes,
cross
yes,
in front of
yes.
the
you
Go
can
right
cross.
through.
You're
Go
good.
ahead.
You're
Don't
good.
even worry about
Lock
it.
the camera.
Don't even worry
Great
about it.
guest. I love when people kind of come on.
We like to
on
pop
this
it
show.
in.
But it's like laughing almost.
You
People
know?
get these bright stars come on, and Robbie pops in there.
Robbie, you're supposed to be like our third host, and you didn't ask a question.
I didn't realize I was in the seat there. Hey, I could have answered that question that he didn't want to answer.
Which is?
Star that I've ever worked with,
Who's that?
Ray Negron.
Oh, there we
There
go.
we go. Here we go.
There we
Unbelievable.
Go. I don't know. Hey, well, we have such a great lineup here. You brought out the Straw Man earlier, so let's bring Darryl Strawberry back on the set. Met Yankee, Dodger, Giant, and Robbie. Is Darryl Strawberry a New Yorker or is he a Los Angeles boy?
Well, depends on your perspective, of course. He had so many great championships with the Mets and with the Yankees, but we loved him out here in LA. And I wish he could have been here to win a couple championships for us.
Yeah, well, Daryl, thank you for joining us on the show here. Your career is legendary in New York and all over. I mean, so many home runs, 1,000 ribbies in your career. But more importantly, too, you're a Christian. You're giving back in such a big way. So welcome to Reach Out with Ray and Steve.
All right, guys. Good to be with you guys.
Yeah, thank you so much. And what do you think of the World Series results, first of all?
I don't really think much of it. I didn't watch it. I mean, I hadn't followed.
Okay.
Yeah. I was pretty much busy most of the time, and passing through airports. Every now and then I get a chance to just get a glimpse in, but I really didn't follow it much. But I saw that the Dodgers won, and congratulations to the Dodgers. They have probably been the most talented team the last few years, besides the Yankees. The Yankees just can't get over the hump. But the Dodgers finally put the pieces together, and congratulations to them.
Yes.
Now, Robbie, what questions, as a host, what
Yeah.
questions would you have for Mr. Strawberry?
Well, Daryl, by the way, it's great to see you again, brother. I know that you're a brother in Christ, and I'm so appreciative of how you go out there and share God's love with the world, man.
Well, thanks, Robbie. I appreciate that. I mean, that's the most important thing is, especially during these very difficult times, is bringing hope and really love and helping people can understand that God's grace is sufficient for them no matter what the circumstances are. I think we get caught up, and so many people are caught up in the pandemic and the election. And what we don't understand is that our life doesn't belong here. This is just a pass through, and we just have to make our message as we pass through here. And we just have to try to encourage most people as we can possible that will listen, that there's a greater place than being here. And if they can understand that, they can understand that they can just do the work that they're called to do here. And I think that's what most people don't understand. The work is far greater than who we are.
Right. Well said, sir. So, Dal, if there are people away from God or kind of caught up in the adversity, the challenges of this pandemic and, this divisiveness that's going on in the country, what advice would you give people to get closer to God and to, kind of help thy neighbor?
Well, I think it's just more commitment more than anything. You have to be persistent to know him, and then you got to surrender yourself to him. So many people are not persistent enough. They just know him from a pass by when they need him, but they don't know him from an everyday standpoint. When you're persistent, you know him from an everyday standpoint. And then when you surrender yourself, when you surrender your own self to him, now he can fulfill the promises. The promises are far greater than you can ever imagine because the promises came from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And when you know that land, that's God land and God people, and you understand who they are, then you get to be a part of what God's promises are.
I'll tell you what, Daryl Strawberry can preach better than he could hit home runs back in the day.
Well, yeah, I've been completely transformed. So it's so different, because all I do is study, and all I do is spend a lot of quiet time, meditating, on God's goodness, just like I did when I meditated on pitchers who was on the mound for the night. I had a plan when I went to the plate. And it's the same thing, when I travel and I go to speak in front of people is, I prepare myself and I have a plan. I do a lot of studying on the plane and I rest in it. And then when I finally get there, I have a message to bring, the message of hope, because it's really not my message. It's God's message, of hope. Just like the baseball player I was, that really wasn't my talent. That was the talent that God had, he loaned it to me, so I just used it to play baseball.
Wow. And our guest earlier, Barry, mentioned the word humble. I think we all have to be humbled in life. And I guess I've been humbled, and Ray's been humbled, Robbie, we've all have it. I'm sure you have too. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, it's so great to understand. Humble is a really important word that I think a lot of people don't understand, because, you look at the greatest, of who couldn't speak was Moses, and God used him mightily because he humbled himself and he walked in humility. And when you can understand the importance of walking in humility, it doesn't make you weak, it makes you strong. Moses was used mightily because of his meekness with God. And when you understand, when you humble yourself to God, he will exalt you right in front of everybody else's eyes because that's what he does. So that's why, a guy like Moses was used mightily. And I think the greatest gift that we all can receive from this life is to be able to go through some storms in life. Because if you can go through some storms and you come out on the other side, you can come out as a new person. If you put yourself into being the right person, not the pretender or trying to be somebody else or blaming it on somebody else. I think when we all take responsibility for our shortcomings, and that's what I love about this life, because the Bible didn't say some of us will fall short. It says we all will fall short. And when you understand falling short is part of it, and you understand all those people that were used by God, they all had issues and struggles just like we did, but they humbled themselves. So I think it's a great place when you can come to that place and understand of humbling yourself and walking in humility.
Unbelievable. Now, Straw, you met Robbie Robinson not too long ago, and it's like you guys have like this instant friendship relationship. Is it baseball? Because I know how much Robbie loves baseball, or is it the aspect of God? I mean, where is it coming from?
Well, it's just the fellowship of combination of friendship, through our faith, but also the love of the game. Don't ever get me wrong. I love baseball. Baseball was very good to me. And, when I got a chance to play in New York City and LA, and also got a chance to play for the Yankees, play for the Boss, those opportunities were great for me because, at that time, I was a baseball player and I was able to play at the highest level and perform at the highest level and win at the highest level. And I'll be forever grateful for all those opportunities, all those teams that I had opportunity to play on. And I'm thankful for all of them: Dodgers, the Mets, the Giants, the Yankees. And, me and Robbie, we just had such a great conversation open about life. And I think that's what's so important. Most people don't talk about life, don't talk about the trials and tribulations and the struggles that we may have to go through, and how do we overcome them, how do we endure them. We just don't give up, we don't quit, we don't point fingers, we move forward, and we ask God to help us, and he helps us in the midst of all our broken pieces.
This is Reach Out with Ray and Steve. Got Robbie Robinson, the great Darryl Strawberry. Now, Ray Negron tells great stories of George Steinbrenner, the Boss. What's your recollection of George Steinbrenner, the Boss, for you, Darryl?
He's probably the greatest leader, father figure that I ever met, in my lifetime, and I know Ray speaks highly of him. And he was that way to Ray. He was that way to me. He was that way to many other people. I think he never got the credit. I mean, he didn't ask for credit. I mean, for the work he did down in Tampa, Florida, with the Boys and Girls Clubs and all the other outlets that he did, and how he just, built these programs, built these facilities. Just a complete gentleman. What a giant in the sports industry. Like I said, the Yankee organization is such a class organization because of him. That's what his standards were. To be class, to treat people with class. No matter how far and how low a person was down, George loved people, and that's what I loved about him more than anything. His love for people was just unspeakable. I mean, there's just so many great things I could say about him. Ray know how I feel about him because he was a father figure to me, just like he was to Ray.
Wow.
And hold on. Let me just say that when Darryl was at his lowest and he wasn't with the Yankee organization, and Darryl, you know what I'm talking about. When we were driving back from, I don't even remember, in Florida, and Steinbrenner kept calling and calling and calling to find out if Darryl was okay.
Yeah.
And when Darryl was missing, he was screaming, "Find him, find him, find him. I don't want him to die."
Yeah.
And
that's what I mean. That's the point I was talking about. The love that George had deep in his heart and his soul for people. And it didn't matter. He didn't look at your color of your skin, or he didn't hold anything over because I was black or Ray was Hispanic, or he didn't hold that over our head like some people would have. But that's why I have so much respect for him as a person. He taught me some real values about life, and I think that's why I'm strong today, because he taught me about strength. He taught me about persevering. He taught me about moving on, regardless of what happened. I remember that first meeting I had when he was bringing me over to the Yankees. He goes, everybody has problems. He goes, you think you got problems? He goes, they suspended me from baseball. So, we just kind of laughed about that. So, I mean, you know how it is, Ray, when you with the boss and you have those little personal meetings and he talks to you sincerely from the heart, which you can't get out of a lot of people because they think of the status of their life. They're too important, too big for you. The boss never thought that way. And that's what I'm forever grateful for.
Mm-hmm. Unreal. Daryl, I mean, I'm just shaking this thing out of me. You know what I'm saying? It's like God was like kicking my butt there for a second there. That's okay. I'm back. From a fun perspective, I know you like music. First off, number one, when you met Robbie Robinson, did you know that he was a part of Frankie Valli in the Four Seasons? Did you know of Frankie Valli?
I heard of it, but I didn't know. I mean, we talked about it, and I heard about Robbie and his music, and I was just so grateful, to have the opportunity to know who Robbie is. And like I said, he celebrates the Dodgers. Keep celebrating the Dodgers. You got the whole year, brother, to celebrate them. So. I know he's played music with a lot of people, so that's very exciting to know.
Now I got to ask you: do you know of the Beach Boys?
Yes, I know the Beach Boys.
Hey, take it easy! Wow.
This is a musical quiz to you, Daryl.
Don't be offended.
It ends right here, though, because we're going to bring on Bruce Johnston from the Beach Boys, and right up on the screen there he is, representing there the Beach Boys. And Robbie, tell us a little bit about Bruce.
Welcome aboard, Bruce.
What's to say? How can you follow Darryl Strawberry? I'm gonna leave. I'm done. I can't speak. I'm speechless. By the way, okay. I just want to say, first of all, the show opened. The music was great. The vocals were great. I couldn't believe it. I had no idea the show was going to be like this. And then Darryl, I'm not worthy, my brother. I am absolutely not worthy. Anyway,
so, Robbie, talk about your friend Bruce.
I'll tell you what, Bruce is one of the legends in our business. He took over for the Beach Boys in 1965, if I'm right. Is that right?
That's right.
He took over. He has some big shoes to fill, Mr. Brian Wilson.
I'm still trying. It's not working.
And the funny thing is, Bruce, of course, won a Grammy, and those guys never won a Grammy for a song. Look at that.
Wow, there we go.
I look like I'm showing you to your table at a restaurant.
So, Bruce, talk about the early days in the Beach Boys, how you got started there.
Well, first of all, let me say that Brian Wilson and Mike Love probably are owed about 10 Grammys for the amazing songs that they wrote. I only wrote one. They wrote about 40. So I learned so much just hanging around, watching Brian and Mike work. I remember when I joined the band, I had a job at Columbia Records as a producer in Hollywood. Now, I was young. I was 21 years old. I was doing really well there. And Mike Love called me, hey, Bruce, Brian can't make it. Glenn Campbell's been filling in for him. Who do you know? Anyway, I wound up in it, make the short out of the long. So I learned a lot about songwriting. I learned a lot about friendship. You remember in the Beach Boys, there are in that family, you had Dennis, Carl, and Brian, three brothers, Mike, the cousin, Al, the friend. Could you imagine how many years? If she said, when did the Beach Boys start? Probably at Christmas when those guys were 8 years old, Right. And somehow there I am. I go year in, year out. I get to do everything. As I said, I learned a lot about writing from watching Mike and Brian. Darryl, I wrote this song in my car on the freeway, and it's called I Write the Songs. And it was a big hit about 3 million years ago, but it was pretty successful. It sold, Robbie, about 22 million albums, 3 million singles. Now, here's the good part. So I Write the Songs is it's all about, say you're interviewing God, right? And you go, God, tell me about yourself. So God goes, I've been alive forever, and I wrote the very first song, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I've had some good moments in this career. Thank you very much.
You know what? Let me jump in on that too, Bruce, because that was in 1977 that you won the Grammy for Song of the Year. I Write the Songs.
That's right, and I'm not disrespectful. I don't have it prop up doors like some guys have their awards. Keep the doors open so the wind won't blow them shut. I'm going to buy a spotlight one of these days for that thing. I'm so proud of it.
Yeah.
And that was that year, 1977 was the year for Dodger fans that we got stabbed in the heart by
Oh,
Ray
wow.
Jones' friend, Reggie Jackson, who hit 3 home runs in that game. You remember that, don't you, Daryl?
Hey, I got a sideways Dodger story. So
Yeah, let's hear it.
I got to tell you why I don't play baseball. I surf, I do that stuff. And mostly in our band, they're in the football field of respect for sports. And Mike Love, who's Mike Love's nephew? Kevin Love.
Ah, yeah.
All right. Anyway, so I'm junior high school. I'm I'm playing sports, but I couldn't. There's this guy who became what's the second baseman eventually. I couldn't play against one guy, and I got discouraged. So I stopped playing baseball. And he was a friend. I said, "What are you gonna do when you're older?" He says, "I want to play for the Dodgers." Well, then what? I want to be in the World Series. And then what? And then I want to go into business. Okay. So who we talking about? Wes Parker.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wow.
Junior high school buddy. He's a year older than I was.
Parker.
Wow.
On the 60s Dodgers, too. He was a first baseman on the Dodgers in the 60s. What a guy.
Well,
Right.
we used to go to the LA Coliseum where they had the Olympics to go see the Dodger games before they got their
Before they
stuff
got
together.
Dodge Stadium. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Well, something else, Daryl, about back to your song. I love the way that you described what you wrote that song about. You wrote it about what God is speaking, right? If you interviewed God, is that what you were saying?
well, I did, but I never told Barry about it. I actually said it's about the spirit of music, Barry, because I knew he would have loved the real story. But I remember when Brian and Tony Asher wrote "God Only Knows," and we're in Asbury Park, and the guy that is the promo guy from the local Capitol Records in Philly comes to the show in the afternoon. He says, "You guys, you got to stop singing God Only Knows. We're going to flip it over and we're going to start promoting Wouldn't It Be Nice?" And I said, "Really? Why?" "Well, radio, they don't really like the word God on the radio." And I went, So years later, I decided, well, I know Barry would love to say the true story about I write the songs, but he might blow the record by saying that. So I just shut up until about 2 years ago.
Well, we have a surprise for you, Mr. Bruce Johnston.
Yes, sir.
We're in order to give you this surprise, we're going to have to bring on our next guest, young lady named Sarah Nimitz, who is a rising superstar. There she is.
All right,
Hey,
girl.
Sarah.
Hi, everyone.
Fantastic. Here's your advice. Keep the publishing. Okay, now let's
Yeah.
Amen.
you write it, you own it. Okay, keep
That's
going.
it.
Well, we have a little surprise for you, and I'm going to let Sarah describe it because she does it so well.
Oh, thank you. So I didn't know that it was about God. I was always under the impression it was just a man saying, "I am a great writer." And I always thought, oh, okay. But of course, it's such beautiful music. And then Robbie told me how it's actually as if God were talking about, being the ultimate creator.
Interviewing God.
Yeah, interviewing God. And then I went, oh, wow. Well, now I see this song in a whole different way. And Robbie and I talked about it. And we said it's almost a gospel song. So we wanted to kind of treat it as such. So this is our gospel version tribute.
I'm gonna put my seatbelt on.
There
All
we
right.
go.
There we go.
Bruce Johnson,
I've been alive forever, yeah. And I wrote the very first song. I put the words and the melodies together. I'm music and I write the songs. I write the songs. Yeah. I write the songs. I write the songs that make the whole world sing. I write the songs of love and special things. I write the songs that make young girls cry. I write the songs. I write the songs. I write the songs. I wanna do you know write the songs. I write the songs. My hope lies deep within you. And I've got my own place within your soul. Now when I look out through your eyes, I'm young again, though I'm very old. Yeah. I write the song. I write. Oh, I write, yeah, the song. I write the songs that make the whole world sing. I write the songs of love, special things. I write the song that makes the young girl cry. I write the songs. I write the songs. Yeah. I write the song. Ooh, I write the song. I write the song. I write. Yes, I do. Ooh, I write the songs.
Yeah. Great job.
I wish I could sing like that. Boy, Sarah,
I wish I could
rock
play
on.
like
Nice
Robbie.
acoustic.
Oh, thanks. It's
Oh
a
my gosh.
beautiful song, and it's so cool to know the real story behind it. I'm so glad you shared that.
But your
And you
collaborations
got
with Robbie,
help you put together. Yeah, Robbie.
What? What'd you say?
Robbie was
Say
rocking
it
for
again,
you. I must admit that was.
Sorry, my computer's
Oh,
doing
I
so
something.
just said
Robbie, talk
Robbie-
about your
Robbie.
collaboration with Sarah on this song.
Yeah.
After I talked to Bruce a few days ago, and he was telling me about how he wrote that song, and so I was thinking, you know what, we should do a tribute to Bruce with that song because that's such an iconic song anyhow. Grammy Song of the Year. I mean, doesn't get better than that.
Ah,
Can't tell.
I gotta take
You write the songs.
So I called her up. I called up Sarah and the other couple days ago, and we threw that together. And Sarah just finished the video about 15 minutes before showtime.
Wow. Right
Wow.
there.
Robbie and I
Great
are always right down to the final minute.
so what? It's perfect. Do you write a lot of songs?
I do, yeah. I don't write the songs, but I write some songs.
Well, I basically I wrote the song, and I'm waiting for more. Here's my deal. You want a little inspiration?
Yes.
Go into CVS and read the greeting cards,
Hmm.
because those geniuses have to get right down to the hook by the second line. If you're ever stuck a little for lyrics, just go check that out.
That's a great. I'm gonna go do that, but I'll stay away from the ones that say "Congrats on being potty trained" or those.
Oh,
That's pretty funny. Well, this is Reach Out with Ray and Steve. We're here every Monday from 7 to 8 p.m. We have Robbie Robinson, our musical director, Sarah Nimitz, Daryl Strawberry, and Bruce Johnston. And we have another special guest right to your right there.
But before we hit her, don't forget Bronx Net at 8:30 every Monday.
That's right. We're hitting Bronx hard.
Haley Gold.
Yeah,
Hi.
welcome, Haley.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome. And Haley, talk about what you just heard, number one, but your career as a young artist.
Oh, yes. So I recently just started to release my new music. So 2020 has been a very big year for me. I have been songwriting now for the past 2 or 3 years,
Nice.
and it's all throughout what I've been going through in my experiences and growing up and living day by day, either with relationships, friendships, just real world stuff that I feel like not a lot of people or artists actually talk about in their music sometimes. Usually things are very much so like, oh, it's a breakup or I'm in love with somebody. You really don't get that like middle of, you know, I have a song called Butterflies and it's about not feeling anything at the right time right now.
Right.
And I feel like myself as an artist, I like to be that person to talk about things that aren't really said.
Right, right.
Well, Haley Gold, I actually met through her dad.
Yeah.
Her dad is a big baseball guy here in New York who works with so many of the young baseball players, the young kids with a dream, kids that come from all walks of life, especially a lot of minority kids, Hispanic and Black kids. And her dad impresses the heck out of me. And then when he told me that his daughter could sing, I said, oh, sure. Okay, everybody's daughter could sing. Okay. But then, you know, she could sing. And so I just thought that today would be cool with the aspect of I'm the biggest, I don't care what anybody says, I'm the biggest Sarah Nimitz fan in America. Okay. And I wanted for Sarah to possibly give you some advice
I
from
love
the
that.
standpoint of
Of
what
course, I love that.
Sarah. So this is Haley, Sarah.
Hey, I mean, I don't think I'm in a position to give you any advice. The only thing I always tell people is just to be themselves, and it sounds like you're doing that. I love that you're
Thank you.
I love that you're writing about, you know, whatever you're feeling. If it's not an epic breakup, you know, feeling nothing is just as worth talking about. So
Wow.
I don't know, I'm excited to hear your music. And
Thank
just
you so much. No, that means a lot to me. And I love, you know, learning from other people and getting that experience from what you have to offer as well. Because, you know, I love collaborating. I love, you know, making sure that everybody, when it comes to like opinions or things that they want to hear, like I take it all in and I just love to put that into my own sound.
I'm with you. I think everybody's got something to teach everybody else. So, you know, why not? Yeah. I can't wait to hear your music. And so you're out in New York area?
Yes. So I live on Long Island and I am, you know, going back and forth from, you know, used to be trains, but now with COVID, I'm driving in, but into the city and stuff like that.
Well,
No.
this will give us a lot to write about. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And then I thought also for her to meet a living legend in the great Bruce Johnstone. And so Johnston, so, you know.
Please, it's all about Daryl Strawberries. Come on. Come on, man.
You know,
So nice to meet
are you a Beach Boys fan?
Oh, yes. I do have a Beach Boys t-shirt in my closet. I do. I will
Well,
admit that.
Four
You
seasons.
might have someone you could write with named Sarah. Why don't you
Oh,
guys
yes.
get together? Plus, you have a
Yeah.
car.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's
Sarah,
so
where are
easy
you?
to collaborate digitally now. I'm in LA.
Oh,
can do
really?
it.
You're in LA?
You can do
Yeah.
it over the
Crazy.
internet. Come on.
Well, Zoom is such a big thing now when it comes to, you know, songwriting sessions and recording. Everything is, you know, through the computer, through your
Yeah.
phone. So I feel like we've been able to adjust to that within our industry.
Thank goodness. Yeah, it seems
Yep.
like technology is a double-edged sword, but there's a lot of good things with it, like that.
Agreed.
Rob and I have been able to write a bunch together, and it's so easy. I mean, it's as easy as FaceTiming someone, only you sing instead. So yeah,
Exactly. Yep.
That's great. And Robbie, when you see all this musical talent on the screen, I mean, what does that do? You're
Well,
our director. You bring it all together.
You talk about the Beach Boys, but what about the Four Seasons?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will share something about that I bet our audience doesn't know, and Bruce and I got a chance to work on a record together years ago. And there's a song out there called East Meets West, which is sung by both the Four Seasons and the Beach Boys. We did we did a song. Bob Gaudio and Bob Crew wrote the song, and Brian was on it, all the Beach Boys.
You were all there. It was great. It was great.
Well, I think we have a little clip. Can we show a little clip? Let's check it out.
East. Oh,
Oh, there we go, Sarah. Keep going. You said east. So you go for the east side there.
That was
Oh, there we
pretty
go.
cool. I forgot about that. I forgot we had a video. Fantastic.
Hey,
Frankie
Bruce,
is a killer.
I was going to ask
Yes,
you,
sir.
how was it working with Frankie Valli?
Frankie is the coolest, greatest, unbelievably most talented guy. I actually, because I have no axe to grind, I love the movie Jersey Boys.
Okay.
I really love the movie. Anyway, and I also love I've Got You Under My Skin, Cole Porter song that the Four Seasons recorded.
Right,
Still
right.
can't get over. Anyway, Frankie's the coolest.
Yes.
Wow. Well, we're gonna bring Daryl back on here for a minute because we've been talking
All right.
music, but we some of our viewers out there want to see some of your highlights. We're getting some feedback to see some of your career highlights, so we're gonna show some of your massive home runs over the years. Let's check it out.
All right.
And he hit it. There it is. Base hit left field. Here comes Heap around second. There will be no throw to the plate. And Strawberry has his first major league base hit.
He'll always remember this one.
Warming up their third pitcher. Well hit to left center field. Out of here. Darryl Strawberry's first major league home run.
All
Strawberry
right.
goes to the opposite power alley.
Strawberry is up facing Nepper. It is now a 4-1 ball game. Strawberry hits it high in the air to right. Bass to the wall. It's gone. The score is tied. High drive into deep right field. Evans back at the wall. Gone.
Daryl,
We
you
got
have
a-
more hits than the Beach Boys.
So Daryl, talk about your days at Shea Stadium because it's not there anymore. You know, the old Yankee Stadium's not there anymore. Talk about your upcoming with the Mets at Shea.
Well, it was thanks for all the young ladies being on, and you know the other young lady that came on after Sarah, I believe, is congratulations to you for your new career and everything that you're going. I just want to encourage you to be you and stay in your lane and not try to be anybody else. That's the most important thing. And don't let the success rule you. You rule it. And I think that's what has to happen.
Okay.
So. That's really important for young people to understand as, looking to go into, fame and fortune, because it's very challenging. The expectations are very difficult, and You know, I was young when I came to the major leagues at the age of 21, and the hype was like real. And I was playing in New York. If I'd have played in somewhere like Seattle, I probably could have hit and never had to deal with so much media and expectations. But, you know, it was just, you know, I was playing in New York, so I had to learn how to deal with it. And there was a lot to deal with. So, you know, playing in the big leagues at the age of 21 in Shea Stadium and becoming a, you know, the National League Rookie of the Year. And then I go on to go to, you know, seven All-Star games, straight All-Star games, win the World Series before I'm 25. And you think it's always going to be like that, and it's really not going to always be like that. The challenges and expectations and the fame that comes with that, it comes a lot of temptations and a lot of pressure. So I'm just grateful for my life, you know, that I was able to experience that and be able to go back and give it to other young people that I see that are have inspiring careers and going forward, and just to encourage them just to be yourself. You know, I wish somebody could have told me that when I was young. Just to be yourself. You don't know how to be yourself when you're 21 years old. You think it's gonna last forever, but it doesn't. So, you know, the home runs and all that was great. Fans are great, but at the same time, you know, you can get lost in the middle of that, and I got lost in the middle of that. I got lost in the drug life. I got lost in the womanizing. You know, I was rich, I was famous, I was privileged. You know, I was living behind community gates before I was even 25 years old. So you can imagine what can happen to a young person. And I experienced it all. I experienced the highs, I experienced the lows. But today I'm grateful for my life. I'm grateful that I'm still alive, and, you know, I have a message to carry to help people and encourage young, beautiful young ladies like you guys that's trying to make careers out of your singing. You guys have the voice, but like I said, don't let it control you. You control it.
That's great
I
advice.
appreciate that.
Daryl, I'm a psychologist by trade. So talk about if young people are connected with addiction, the throes of addiction, what advice would you give them to break out of that? Or what would be the first step for them to reach out?
My first hope for young people, because I've seen so many of them addicted to opiates and heroin, and my first hope to them is to get help and let someone help you, let someone love you. And I would encourage people that know people that have problems. You know, I sit here with 17 years recovery now, and people that know people that know people have problems, love them. You know what I'm talking about, Ray. You know, love them. You don't have to tolerate them, but love them. You know, I think we've gotten away from love and the compassion of people, and we don't know why they're hurting. We don't know why they end up addicted. We don't know what happens to them. You know, there's some kind of trauma, some kind of abuse, some kind of rejection that comes in one's life, and they end up in that place. And they're not bad people. You know, they just end up, you know, in a bad situation. And we have to learn to love them, keep loving them until they can love themselves. And that's what happens for me. You know, I have people love me, Ray, Ron, Doc, and my wife, and other people who were in recovery before me. They loved me. They didn't tolerate me, but they loved me. That's what I love about it. It's a big.
I hated you, Strawberry. I hated you.
Hey, Daryl, go ahead. But I've got a way to wrap this kind of back full circle. We talked, of course, beginning about the Dodgers winning the World Championship. First time in 32 years. Back when they won the World Series championship, I saw one of the greatest vocal performances I've ever seen in my life. And it was after the championship, done by, I think, a friend of yours, Mr. Oral Hershiser. Aren't you friends with Oral?
Yes, of course. Of course I was. I mean, we played together on the same team when I came over to the Dodgers, but we played against each other. So don't remind me about the '88 season, because they beat us that year to go play Oakland, and they swept Oakland. So because we went 7 games with them in that '88 series, you know, and they hadn't beat us all year, and they ended up beating us in that, you know, beating us in the playoffs and going on to sweep Oakland. So, you know, he had a phenomenal run, and he had, you know, they were in the right place, right time. Kirk Gibson came up with some really big hits for him, big home run, you know, at Shea Stadium I think he hit one off the clock off of Roger against us. Then he goes on to hit a home run hit that grand slam off of Dennis Eckersley, you know, and they go on to win the World Series and sweep the A's that year. So that was a phenomenal year for them, you know, and, you know, they beat us. That 88 Met team was probably better than the 86. You know, the 86 team just had a little bit more heart, but that 88 team was so much better. You know, we just couldn't get over the hump, against the Dodgers that year.
You had that great team. You're right. I think Rick Monday hit that home run that won the game in the last game. But you know what? But one of the things that Oral did, the great performance that he did musically was after he had that great. He was the World Series championship. By the way, as a Dodger fan, we're tired of 1988 too, because that's all we've been hearing about for 32 years, and now finally we have a championship.
I'm not tired of '88. That's when Kokomo was #1. But go ahead.
Ah, there we go.
That was a good year. That was a good year for him.
Yeah. What Oral Hershiser did that year, he went on Johnny Carson's show, and you'll appreciate this, Daryl. And I think he went on the Johnny Carson show and sang the doxology, praise God from whom all blessings flow. He sat in the chair next to Johnny, a cappella in front of millions of people, the World Series champions singing praise God from whom all blessings flow. So I thought that was one of the most memorable vocal performances I've ever seen, ever.
Yeah, he was an incredible. Yeah, he was an incredible guy, and you just appreciate him. You appreciate the run that he had, that year, and how he led the Dodgers into that, 88 series playoffs against us, and they beat us. Like I said, they beat us, and we were a pretty good ball club, and they go on and they spank Oakland and sweep them. So that was a phenomenal year for him, and he gave God all the glory, and that's what we all should remember. As somebody far greater than us, our talent is just a gift to us, but it's someone far greater than us who gives us that gift. And we always must remember to give him the thanks and the praise for it, because if it wasn't for him giving it to us, we wouldn't be who we are.
We're just singing the song. He wrote the song.
He wrote the songs. Johann Sebastian Bach always said, "Soli Deo Gloria," to God be the glory on everything that he wrote.
Yeah, he writes the songs of our life. It's so many different songs of our lives, and we go through. So you young ladies, you be encouraged, and you keep doing what you're doing. God's gave you a great gift, and use it to glorify him, and trust his ways instead of the ways that sits in front of us, because they always set ways in front of us to make us believe that they look good, but they're really not good at the end. So
this is the coolest TV show I've ever been on.
Oh, wow.
This is so
What a
cool.
compliment.
Well, Bruce, I was going to ask you, because we're almost out of time, but what advice would you give Sarah and Haley and all the young people out there that are struggling during this pandemic musically? What advice would you give them to give them a little hope?
Forget about the drugs. Forget about the smoking. Forget about the drinking. Work out. Always be nice to your parents. Be nice to everybody, and go to the card shop someplace and get some ideas.
Yes.
There we go. There we
I
go.
love that.
Robbie, keep your publishing. Both of you.
That's what Michael Jackson said to Paul McCartney, right?
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Let's not get into that. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Robbie, we're almost out of time. Haley's gonna take us home with a new song, but you have a show coming up too tonight. Talk about your show.
My show at 7:00, which I was privileged to have Daryl on one night a few weeks ago, but it's 7:00 in California time, 10:00 Eastern time, and tonight is going to be Sarah Nimitz night on Jam and Java. She's going to be By the way, do you know Sarah Nimitz her new album just came out last week. And
2020.
And guess what? She's on the chart. She's on Billboard chart. She's ahead of Bob Dylan even on the Billboard chart.
Wow. Not bad. Not bad. Congratulations, Sarah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
We got to get it to number one. Okay.
I'm
well,
happy with 91. I'll take it.
Well, Daryl and Bruce, thank you so very much,
Thank you so
gentlemen.
much.
God bless you guys
Thank
for
you,
everything
Daryl.
you
Great.
do and the kind
You guys
words you
too.
give for so many people.
Sarah, you're great. And Robbie, the best
okay.
musical director in all of sports and entertainment. And
All
Straw,
right,
I
guys.
love you, Straw.
I love you too, Ray.
God bless,
Love you
guys.
guys.
Beach
Thank
Boys.
you so very
You
much.
guys.
Thank
Beach
you,
Boys
thank you.
forever.
I'll tell Brandon.
Because I write the song.
All right,
Thank you,
guys.
man.
Thank you so very much. So,
Take it home, girl.
Haley, what do you think
Yes.
about all this in front of you?
I am grateful right now to even be talking to these people right here.
Ah.
I mean, absolutely incredible. But no, I'm taking it all in. Their advice was amazing, and you know, I just keep moving forward and stay humble.
Thank
Even
you,
like
my
what Jerry
darling.
said.
Let's hear the song.
Let's set up the song. What's
Yes,
the song?
this is Montana. This is a single that I just put out about 2 weeks ago, and it is a breakup song, but with a very happy ending. So enjoy.
All right.
I swear there's something in your drink, 'cause one glass you moved on for me, took your last sip, now I think I'm over you. Guess what, there's nothing wrong with me, I'm happy, no more therapy, my problems didn't start with me, it's you. I held on to you when there was nothing left to hold, I tried something new, now I think that you should know. When you were in Montana, I was in the city. You were on vacation, and I was feeling pretty. When you were in Montana, weren't thinking about me. That's fine, I found someone better for me. Ooh, hey. Go on and text me like it's all okay, 'cause you haven't noticed anything's up anyways. Hang with your guys, I'll be hanging with mine too. I held on to you when there was nothing left to hold, I tried something new, now I think that you should know. When you